Okay, let's make some sum up after finishing the Fisherman's Trail. If you like sun, if you like beaches, an ocean, nice views, and easy terrain, this is the trail for you. It's about 230 kilometers long, mostly on straight paths without any climbing or anything like that. So very easy with some difficulties which I will talk about later, but views and the whole experience is totally awesome. I highly recommend this trail. It's in South-West Protugal. We are walking all the time by the coast from Sines to Lagos, and yeah, you meet many good people, but not too many good people, not too many people. You pass some civilizations, so you can stock up all the time. And if I could compare it with something, I would compare it with Spain hikes, something like Menorca. As for the difficulty, it's actually quite easy with two exceptions. One is sand. There is so much sand in the west area that you will hate the sand, no matter how you liked it before, no matter how you like beaches, you will hate it. Because those are parts where you can't walk barefoot, because they are sharp stones and branches and stuff. But also when you walk in shoes, they got full of sand, and they got so full of sand that it will push on your feet and it will get uncomfortable. So you have to take out the shoes, take out the socks, remove the sand, put your shoes back, and do this over and over and over again. This is mostly on the west coast, especially in the first half. Then it becomes less, and on the south coast there will be not that much sand, but there will be much more elevation. So other than that, just the elevation on the south part where you are going really up and down, which is in combination sorry, with the second problem here. It's the sun. There is so much sun here during the whole year. I was walking around half of April. I think it was already too late. Definitely can't imagine to walk this during the summer. It would be too bad. And yeah, the sun is very strong. Also, there is a lot of wind by the cliffs, because we are walking mostly by the cliffs, and because of that there is a lot of wind. And if there is a lot of wind, you don't feel the sun that much, so you get burned really easily. I got burned in 2 days basically, and I didn't feel anything because of the cold wind. So I got burned. I had to get the sunscreen protection. Too late, obviously, but don't do that mistake, and bring some sunscreen protection with you. And it doesn't matter if you are going in early spring or late autumn or even during the winter, because the sun is really strong and there is not that much shadow. In some parts there is no shadow at all. You can't hide from the sun, and if you don't have enough water, it's not that comfortable. The distance actually is not that bad. It's 230 kilometers, just like I said. You can make easily 30 kilometers per day. I made 30 to 40 kilometers per day, and it wasn't any fast walk. It was okay. Officially, this trail is divided into sections, so you can sleep in towns, and those sections are around 19 kilometers long. I was talking with people who are walking it the opposite direction. They were mostly going from town to town, and it was really under 20 kilometers. But I don't think that that's satisfying enough to walk so little, because the nature is beautiful And you can easily walk 30 kilometers per day without any special effort. So I made it in 7 days. There were people saying that they made it like 14. I think if you would go slowly and with no pressure, I think 10 days is more than enough. You would expect, and I expected, that you can swim every day there. And on the west coast is not that easy, because on the west coast you are walking by the cliffs all the time, and the beaches are there, but they are just down below. You can see them from the top, and to most of them it's not possible to get, and to those where you can get, it's difficult path, so you have to make a lot of descending. Then you could maybe take a swim, and then you would have to go up, so it would take a lot of time. You would get tired from it. So I found the first beach which was okay to swim after, I don't know, 4 days maybe. The temperature of the sea is actually quite good. Now in mid-April it's about 15 degrees, which is totally perfect. And if you are hot and tired, the colder water is totally awesome. The problems are waves sometimes, or most of the time, because they are pretty big. So you can't just swim far. Sometimes you can't even swim at all, because those waves are 2 meters big. So it's dangerous. And also at the shore, because the beaches, because those waves are so big, it brings, the sea contains a lot of sand and a lot of dirt. So it's not clean water by the shore. You have to go farther to have clean water. But yeah, it's okay, it's okay. It's swimmable. On the south coast, that's completely different. On the south coast, you are passing beaches all the time, several beaches per day. They are much more tourists. It's a very touristic area there, but you can swim all the time. So yeah, it depends if you are going from south to north or the opposite direction. I went from north to south. So I had the most swimming at the end of the trail, and also the most people. Yeah. It was the so fast part is sometimes quite crowded. But if you want, you can swim every day. It just takes more effort on the west side. The trail is perfectly marked. It's the best marked trail I have ever hiked. There are actually 2 trails here. One is the Fisherman's Trail, which I'm talking about, and another one is Historical Way. I think it's called Historical Way. Difference between those is that sometimes they join, but the Historical Way is going through inland, and the Fisherman's Trail is going just by the cliffs. And the Fisherman's Trail has blue and green marks. So when they are 2 stripes, blue and green, that's Fisherman's Trail, and Historical Way is red. Sometimes they join, but if you follow blue and red, it leads you pretty well. Sometimes even there are trail marks which are crossed, so it tells you, don't go here, that's the wrong way. I've never seen anything like this before on any trail, so it's really well marked. It's very hard to get lost. I got lost maybe twice, but that was because I was with my head somewhere completely else and I wasn't looking at the trail itself on the path. But yeah, it's well marked trail. Somebody took really good time to make it well marked. Well, as for sleeping, officially in whole Spain, Portugal, on these countries, the wild camping is forbidden. So you shouldn't sleep outside. You could sleep only in hostels or campsites, which are on the way. I was bivouacking first, and I think that's tolerated because you don't build any tent, you don't make any structure. You basically come, lay down and leave in the morning, which is totally possible here. The weather is great. In the night, I think it was like the coldest night was 11 degrees, the warmest like 16. During the day it's 25, it was in 29. So it's easy to sleep just under the stars. Just there are two problems again. One problem are mosquitoes. At the northwest part of the trail, there are not any mosquitoes, or they weren't when I was there. So that was okay. But then there were so many, there were swarms of mosquitoes. They would eat you alive. So that was totally necessary to set up a tent. And I had to set up the tent on some places. I always did it on a place which was remote. I've never left anything on the place. Everything was just like I came. I arrived late and left early. So yeah, that's a possibility. But yeah, officially you should go from campsite to campsite or from hostel to hostel. You will meet so many awesome people, so many, every day. I don't know if it's because I went from north to south, but I was crossing hikers all the time, several times per day. They have so good stories. You can listen all the time about their lives and why they are here, what they are doing. It was very enriching. Sometimes sad, sometimes happy, sometimes nice, sometimes not that nice, but you always learn something new. You make new friends. I'm in contact with some of those guys. We connected through Instagram and share our stories. So yeah, this is another good part of the experience. You meet new people. I met people from USA, Canada, UK, Netherlands, a lot of Germans, like most of the hikers here are Germans. I think it was because they had Easter holiday. Even a few Czech people and some Polish people. But yeah, so many good people to talk with and with interesting stories. You need to stock up on the way, and on this trail it's actually pretty easy because you pass the town every day. One catch-up is that on Sundays, smaller towns or villages, everything is closed there. So be ready to not get anything on Sundays. Fortunately, they are, on some places or most of the places, they are public toilets where you can get water. So you can get water basically everywhere. Shops are all the way around the path. I was quite surprised about vegan options in restaurants and bars. Basically in every single one of them they offered some vegan options. The prices are okay, usually around 10 euros for lunch. So no problems about stocking up, no problems about keeping, a lot of water with you. I was always taking like 3 liters with me, and it was overkill. I think 2 liters would be more than enough for every part. Yep. And local food is actually pretty good. I recommend to try those bars and restaurants because also the owners are interesting people. They will give you some background and stories. In one town there is a ferry going back and forth. You can take the ferry, and the lady who was selling the tickets, she took care of 22 cats. She knew all of them by name. She was giving some of them different types of medicine. That was totally lovely. And yeah, there are actually stories like this all the time. So yeah, pretty good experience from this point of view too. About getting to the trail and from the trail, I think you can have two options. And it doesn't matter if you start from Sines or from Lagos. You come either from Lisbon or from Faro. And from both you have to take a ride to the beginning of the trail, the bus, which takes about 2 or 2.5 hours. From Lisbon it's Rede Expressos. The thing here is that you have to book your tickets online on your phone. You have to pay it, and then you show the driver your phone that you have the ticket. You can't buy it on the place, I think. I believe that you can't. And you definitely can't buy it from the driver. So red espressos from Lisbon. Yeah, book it online. It's from Lisbon to Sines. It was 16.5 euros. And then from Lagos to Faro, it was like 6 euros, and you could buy tickets at the bus station. And it goes like every 2 hours, so really not a problem. So I guess that's it. It was definitely one of the most beautiful hikes I've ever made. Definitely one of the top 3. It all depends. If you like mountains, you would be disappointed here because there is nothing like that here. It's just coastal way. It's said that this is the most beautiful coastal hike on the world. So pretty high expectations here. But from my experience, I would say Menorca was better. But nobody knows about Menorca. You know, everybody's hiking Mallorca, everybody's hiking all those caminos and everything. Nobody's hiking Menorca, but I would say Menorca is pretty similar to Fisherman's Trail, but it was more appealing to me because you were passing beaches all the time. Here you pass most of them on the south coast only, and on Menorca you pass them all the time. They are more remote, and many of them are smaller, so very often you had just beach for yourself. There was nobody, nowhere, anywhere. And it was also more variable on Menorca, because here it's all the time just cliffs and coasts and cliffs and coasts and beaches and cliffs and coasts. There is very little variety here. So Menorca was more variable. They were even like Madeira-like views. But it was longer. I think it was 300 kilometers. This was 230. So, but if you like this type of hikes, I definitely recommend you Menorca or Fisherman's Trail or some Canary Islands. You can actually find videos on my channel from Canary Islands and from Menorca. So that's it. I won't talk about my gear because maybe in another video, or you can just find the link below the video with all my gear if you are interested. There is nothing much about it. Just make it as light as possible, because yeah, in that sand every kilo will be a burden. Yeah, but for me, 9 out of 10, perfect trail. Really enjoyed it. What a beautiful journey. I was super sad after finishing it, and I haven't had this feeling before after finishing a trail. So it was magnificent. It was awesome. It was beautiful, and I highly recommend it to everyone.